So we've just packed the car. We're heading off to Ballarat, which is about 200 k's from where I live, and we are going to be painting a food and wine truck festival. It's going to be a live mural, so going to be working over 3 days. There's a bit of a crowd probably watching as we go. So yeah, it's going to be a really fun project. The concept is a good one. We're just going to hit the road, and I'll see you when we get there. So for this project, I headed down on the Friday day. I arrived in the afternoon, I think at about 2:30. The idea was sort of to kick off about 3 o'clock. When I first did get there, I sort of discovered that the board that I was painting on was actually quite a lot longer than what was originally discussed. So I hit the backboard, which I didn't film, with a quick layer of primer, but because the board was quite a bit longer, I didn't actually have enough. So you can kind of see that it fades out a little bit at the bottom, and I mixed in just a little bit of white paint, but I wasn't too stressed because it was just this first sort of building layer to work upon. But yeah, so luckily I had my laptop and iPad in the car, so I jumped in the car, adjusted the artwork and concept to fit so that I could grid up my concept design. So this led me to start at about 4 p.m. I think, and I worked through till about 9 o'clock when the sun went down. But this first day, as usual, was just sort of about sketching in, finding where everything was going to lay on the canvas. And as you can see, on the second day, I drove back down with Tash and Bowie, and I planned to stay down there with them on the Saturday night and finish up on the Sunday late afternoon. The weather down there was quite hot and dry, around 30 degrees, and it was just super windy, which proved to be a little bit of a challenge, as occasionally as I put my brush up to the board to lay down a stroke, it was so windy that my hand was getting blown around. So that was a little bit of a pain to work through. But with a design like this, I'm sort of just building up those initial layers, which working in a live setting is quite regularly a lot of fun, but also when you're building up these initial layers, it doesn't really look that great. So it's pretty confronting, and you've got to drop the ego a little bit and just sort of trust the process as usual, and just realize that the people that are going to be coming through on the Friday and the sort of, you know, mid to late day on the Saturday are going to see a sort of initial sketch of the piece, and that might be the only sort of section of the piece that they get to see, and you kind of just have to be okay with that. But yeah, I got a lot of people stopping for a chat, asking sort of what I was up to, particularly the people that were working the event and working the food trucks. A lot of people were really curious what I was up to, and yeah, I just had a lot of fun sort of chatting to people as I went. And it was awesome having Tash and Bowie down there as well for support. Bowie was fantastic. He sort of just sat there on his bed at the front of the mural, and yeah, everybody loved stopping for a chat and stopping to give him a pat as well. He was very popular. But with this design, essentially the goal was just to sort of create something that represented what the festival was all about. So we kind of have this nice sunset scheme with bright and colourful poppy colours, and then you'll see we've got this sort of night sky section in the top left, because obviously the festival does go into the night as well. And then yeah, just bringing in different elements that the festival offers. So we've got the food truck as the focal element in the center. We've got the ice cream cone and the guitar as well. As it was quite hot, I did end up with a few people taking shelter behind the board, which was a little bit of an issue, as sometimes they were sort of trying to get a little bit too close and not giving me room to work. But yeah, for the most part, it was fine. Thankfully, I was facing away from the sun, otherwise it would have been a lot hotter for me to be working there throughout the day. I sort of only got the sun until about, I don't know, 4 o'clock, and then it was sort of disappeared on the other side and I was in shadow. Here I was just sort of experimenting with what I wanted to do with the van. I thought it might have been cool to have these sort of floral detailed. But because of the rest of the design is a lot of block color, I decided to do a little bit of a mix of both and block in some of those panels just to add a little bit more contrast. The guitar was probably the most challenging element, just getting all those lines in for the strings, etc. But overall, I think it tied together really nicely. And that is going to bring us right through to the end of the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.